biker gang leader, noticed the waitress's bruises. What he did next shocked the whole town. Ryder Hail noticed the fresh bruises' first purple fingerprints circling the waitress's wrist as she poured coffee with trembling hands. When she whispered, "Please don't ask," he knew silence wasn't an option. What the Iron Brotherhood did next became the talk of Riverside for years. The Riverside diner sat on Highway 6 like a relic from better times, its neon sign flickering, open 24 hours, even when half the letters had burned out years ago. Chrome and vinyl booths lined the windows, overlooking a parking lot where semis and motorcycles shared space with beat-up sedans. At 11 p.m. on a Thursday, the place was nearly empty, except for the night shift regulars. Truckers nursing bottomless coffee, a cop finishing his break, and Ryder's crew occupying their usual corner booth. Angela Martinez had worked the graveyard shift for 3 years, ever since her husband Derek lost his job at the auto plant, and his drinking went from recreational to compulsive. 28 years old but looking older, she moved through the diner with practiced efficiency, refilling cups before they emptied, remembering orders without writing them down, smiling even when exhaustion made her bones ache. The regulars knew her story in fragments: the husband who'd grown mean, the 5-year-old daughter she was raising mostly alone, the bruises she explained away with clumsy lies about walking into doors and falling down stairs. Most people looked away, uncomfortable with domestic troubles that weren't their business. Angela preferred it that way. Attention meant questions. Questions meant Derek finding out she'd talked, and Derek finding out meant worse than bruises. Tonight, her wrist throbbed where he'd grabbed her during yesterday's argument about money. She'd covered it with long sleeves, but the fabric kept riding up as she worked, exposing the purple fingerprints his rage had left behind. Ryder noticed when she refilled his coffee. He'd spent 25 years in the Iron Brotherhood, learning to read body language, the flinch before impact, the careful way abuse survivors held themselves, the rehearsed explanations that came too quickly. Angela's bruises told a story she wouldn't speak aloud. When their eyes met and she saw his recognition, panic flashed across her face. "Please don't ask," she whispered before hurrying away. Ryder watched Angela disappear into the kitchen, his coffee forgotten. Across the table, his brothers Snake, Bones, and Maria had noticed too. Maria, the only woman in their chapter and a former domestic violence survivor herself, set down her mug with controlled fury. "How long do you think it's been going on?" "Long enough that she's scared," Ryder replied quietly. "Did you see how she flinched when that trucker raised his voice earlier?" Snake, scarred and tattooed, looked uncomfortable. "Ain't our business, man. She didn't ask for help." "She asked us not to ask," Ryder corrected. "That's different. That's someone who's drowning but too afraid to scream." Maria nodded. "We need to do something, but carefully. If we approach wrong, if we push too hard, her situation at home gets worse. I've been there. I know how this works." The question hung between them. Help someone who didn't ask, who might not want it, who could be endangered by their intervention. Ryder made a decision that would change everything. "Maria, you take point. Woman to woman might feel less threatening. Find out what she needs: resources, safe house info, legal help. Don't push, just offer. The rest of us, we find out who we're dealing with, quietly." Over the next week, the Iron Brotherhood became regulars at the diner, rotating shifts to ensure someone was always there when Angela worked. They noticed patterns, how she took her break in the storage room instead of outside, where Derek sometimes showed up drunk, how she hid tips in her shoe instead of her purse, how she always parked under the brightest light, keys already in hand before leaving. Maria finally approached Angela during a quiet Tuesday night shift. "I saw your wrist. I had bruises like that once. Took me 5 years to leave, not judging, not pushing. Just want you to know if you ever need help, we're here." Angela's eyes filled with tears. She blinked away furiously. "He's not always like this. When he's sober, when work was good, he was different. My daughter loves him. I can't just—" She stopped, the lie dying on her lips. "I'm scared. If I leave, he'll find me. If I stay—" She didn't finish. Both outcomes were terrifying. Maria understood. She'd lived it. "You don't have to decide now, but take this." She slid a card across the counter. "Women's Crisis Center, open 24/7. They have safe houses, legal advocates, protection orders, and if you want someone with you when you go, someone who won't let him hurt you, we're a phone call away." Angela pocketed the card quickly as the cook rang the bell. "Thank you," she whispered, "but please be careful. He gets really angry. I don't want you getting hurt because of me." "Sweetheart," Maria said gently, "we're hell's angels. Angry husbands don't scare us." Angela began staying later at the diner, finding excuses to avoid going home. Ryder noticed her lingering over closing duties, reorganizing supplies that didn't need organizing. One night, she finally opened up during the dead hours between 2 and 4 a.m., when only insomniacs and travelers remained. "Derek wasn't always like this," she said, refilling Ryder's coffee for the 3rd time. "When we met, he was ambitious, funny. The drinking started after the layoffs, then the anger, then—" She touched her wrist unconsciously. "I keep thinking it'll get better, that if I'm just more patient, more understanding, he'll be the man I married again." Ryder recognized the hope that trapped so many survivors. People don't change unless they want to. Does he want to? Angela's silence was answer enough. "My daughter asks why Daddy yells. She's 5. She shouldn't have to know about this." "No," Ryder agreed. "She shouldn't." Derek noticed the bikers. How could he not? Every night Angela worked. At least 2 Iron Brotherhood members were there watching. It made him paranoid, suspicious, meaner. He showed up at the diner on Angela's Thursday shift, drunk and aggressive, demanding to know why his wife was entertaining bikers instead of working. Manager Tom interceded. "Derek, you need to leave. You're drunk and disturbing customers." "I'm talking to my wife." Derek shoved Tom, who stumbled backward into a table. Ryder was on his feet instantly, as were Snake and Bones. They didn't touch. Derek didn't need to. 3 large bikers standing created an implicit threat that even Derek's alcohol-soaked brain understood. "Walk away," Ryder said calmly, "before this gets worse for you." Derek left, but not before grabbing Angela's arm hard enough to make her gasp. "We'll talk at home." The threat was clear. That night, Angela called the number Maria had given her. The crisis counselor talked her through options: safe house, protection order, emergency custody arrangements. But taking any action meant confronting Derek, meant packing and leaving while he was home, because waiting for him to leave meant he'd know, meant he'd hide important documents, empty bank accounts, make escape impossible. The counselor asked, "Do you have anyone who can be with you for safety?" Angela thought about the bikers who'd been watching over her for weeks, who'd stood between her and Derek's rage without being asked. She thought about Maria's understanding eyes and Ryder's quiet strength. "Yes," she said, "I think I do." The next morning, Angela called Maria. "I'm ready to leave, but I need help. He's home today, drinking already. If I try to pack alone, he'll stop me, or worse." Maria's response was immediate. "Give me your address. We'll be there in 20 minutes. The Iron Brotherhood assembled at the clubhouse. Ryder, Maria, Snake, Bones, and 4 others, including Doc, a former paramedic, and Teresa, who'd left her own abusive marriage years ago with the club's help. They planned carefully. This wasn't about confrontation or violence. It was about protection, about giving Angela safe space to reclaim her life. "We go in calm," Ryder instructed. "Maria and Teresa help Angela pack. Doc stands by in case medical attention is needed. The rest of us, we're a wall between Derek and the women. He doesn't get to touch anyone, doesn't get to intimidate, doesn't get to stop his wife from leaving. Clear?" Everyone nodded. They'd done this before, helped women escape, protected the vulnerable, used their intimidating presence for good instead of harm. But it never got easier, knowing they'd be walking into someone's worst day, hoping it would become the first day of something better. 8 motorcycles pulled up to the small rental house in Riverside's working-class neighborhood. Neighbors peered through curtains, phones ready to call police. Angela stood on the porch, her 5-year-old daughter Lily clinging to her leg, a bruise fresh on Angela's cheek that hadn't been there yesterday. "He knows," Angela said, voice shaking. "He saw me packing. He threw my suitcase out the window. He's inside drinking, saying if I try to leave, he'll—" She couldn't finish, just pulled Lily closer. Ryder approached slowly, non-threatening. "Has he hurt Lily?" "No, never. But she's scared and I can't do this alone. I tried. I can't." Maria knelt beside Lily. "Hey, sweetie, I'm Maria. Want to see my motorcycle? It's got pink flames." She held out her hand, and after a moment, Lily took it, allowing herself to be led away from the house, away from whatever was about to happen. Inside, Derek watched through the window, his face contorted with rage and alcohol. He burst through the door, beer bottle in hand. "Get off my property. You have no right." "We have every right," Ryder said calmly. "Angela wants to leave. We're here to make sure she can do that safely." Derek's laugh was ugly. "She can't leave. She's my wife. This is my house. That's my daughter." He pointed at Lily, who buried her face in Maria's jacket. "You bikers think you're tough? You don't scare me." "We're not here to scare you," Ryder replied. "We're here to help Angela pack her belongings and leave. You can make this easy or hard, but either way, she's leaving." Derek swung the bottle. Ryder caught his wrist mid-swing, applying just enough pressure to make Derek drop it. The bottle shattered on the concrete. "Don't," Ryder warned. "Think about what you're doing. Assault in front of witnesses, in front of your daughter. Is that really the choice you want to make?" Derek's rage collapsed into something pathetic, the realization that for once, he wasn't the most powerful person in the room. "Angela, please, I love you. I'll change. I promise I'll stop drinking. Just don't leave." Angela had heard these promises before, always after violence, always empty. "I'm done," she said quietly. "I'm taking Lily and leaving." "You can't take my daughter." "I have emergency custody papers from the crisis center," Angela replied. "You can file for visitation when you're sober." Police arrived, called by nervous neighbors. Officer Jackson, who knew both the Iron Brotherhood and Derek's reputation, assessed the situation quickly. "Anyone hurt?" "No, sir," Ryder said. We're just helping Mrs. Martinez collect her belongings. Her husband's been drinking, and we wanted to ensure everyone's safety." Jackson looked at Derek, who was now sitting on the porch steps, head in hands. "That true, Derek? You been drinking?" Derek nodded miserably. "Then I suggest you stay put while they pack. Any trouble, and you're spending the night in jail for drunk and disorderly. Clear?" With police supervision, Angela packed quickly clothes, Lily's toys, important documents she'd hidden in the freezer behind frozen vegetables. 30 minutes later, everything she cared about was loaded onto Teresa's pickup truck. Angela buckled Lily into Maria's car for the ride to the safe house. Before leaving, she looked back at the house where she'd spent 3 years afraid. Freedom felt terrifying and necessary. The safe house was a nondescript apartment complex managed by the Women's Crisis Center. Angela and Lily would stay there while she worked with advocates to file for divorce, establish custody, and find permanent housing. The Iron Brotherhood helped move in the few possessions Angela had taken: clothes, Lily's stuffed animals, photos of Angela's mother who'd passed away. Lily clutched a teddy bear, looking around the small apartment with wide eyes. "Is Daddy coming here?" "No, sweetie," Angela said, kneeling to her daughter's level. "This is our safe place, just you and me." "And the nice motorcycle people?" Angela smiled through tears. "They're our friends. They'll check on us, make sure we're okay." Maria set up a coffee maker in the small kitchen. "We're a phone call away, day or night. You need anything at all, you call." The first night was hardest. Angela lay awake listening to unfamiliar sounds, jumping at every car that passed. Lily had nightmares, crying for her daddy in her sleep, confused why they'd left. Angela called the crisis hotline 3 times, needing reassurance that she'd made the right choice. Derek called repeatedly, messages cycling through anger, pleading, threats, and promises. The crisis advocate helped Angela document everything for the protection order hearing scheduled for Monday. Each voicemail was evidence of harassment, building the case that Derek was dangerous, that the restraining order was necessary. Ryder organized a rotation, Iron Brotherhood members taking shifts in the parking lot, visible deterrent against any attempt Derek might make to find Angela. Saturday morning, he showed up at the safe house with groceries and a gift for Lily, a small leather bracelet with "Brave" stamped into it. Derek discovered their location. Sunday night, a friend from work had seen the motorcycles and put pieces together. He showed up drunk, pounding on the apartment door, shouting Angela's name. "Open up! I just want to talk. Please, I'm sorry." Ryder was outside in seconds. "Derek, you need to leave. Now. You're violating the temporary protection order." "I don't care. That's my wife, my daughter." Snake and Bones flanked Ryder, creating an impenetrable wall. "Police are already on the way," Ryder said calmly. "You can leave now and maybe avoid arrest, or you can stay and definitely get arrested. Your choice." Derek swung wildly. Ryder sidestepped easily, then restrained him with practiced efficiency, arms pinned, until police arrived. Officer Jackson arrested Derek for violating the protection order, assault, and public intoxication. As they led him away, Derek screamed threats that only strengthened Angela's case. Monday's hearing was straightforward. The judge reviewed evidence, photographs of bruises, medical records, police reports from years of domestic disturbances, Derek's arrest for violating the temporary order. Derek's lawyer tried to argue he was working on sobriety, that he deserved a chance to see his daughter. "Your client has had years of chances," the judge replied. "Mrs. Martinez has documented proof of sustained abuse. Mr. Martinez, you will stay at least 500 feet from your wife and daughter. You may petition for supervised visitation after completing anger management and substance abuse treatment. Until then, contact is forbidden. Violation will result in immediate arrest." The gavel fell. It was over. Angela was free. Outside the courthouse, Angela broke down crying not from sadness but relief, so overwhelming it felt like drowning in air. Maria held her while Ryder kept watch, ensuring Derek didn't approach. Lily played with Teresa, unaware of the legal protections that had just been established. "What now?" Angela asked when she could breathe again. "Now you rebuild," Maria said. "Get a new job, find a permanent place, give Lily stability. And when you're ready, maybe you help the next woman who needs someone to notice her bruises." Angela looked at the bikers who'd saved her. "Why? Why did you help me? You don't even know me." Ryder smiled. "We know what it looks like when someone needs help. That's enough." Angela returned to work at the diner 3 weeks later, this time during day shifts when Derek was less likely to cause trouble. Her bruises faded. Her smile became genuine. Lily started kindergarten, no longer jumping at loud noises. The Iron Brotherhood remained regular customers, their presence a continuing reminder that Angela wasn't alone anymore. Derek completed court-mandated treatment, but Angela never reconciled. Some betrayals couldn't be forgiven. She filed for divorce, which Derek didn't contest. The house sold, splitting assets. Angela used her share to rent a small apartment with Lily, finally having a home that felt safe. Word spread through Riverside about what the bikers had done. Other women reached out, some looking for help escaping abuse, others wanting to volunteer. The Iron Brotherhood partnered with the Women's Crisis Center, offering protection services for women fleeing dangerous situations. Ryder never sought recognition, but the town saw him differently now, not as a thug in leather, but as someone who noticed when others looked away. Angela's bruises had sparked a movement that saved dozens more, proving that sometimes the most unexpected people become heroes simply by caring enough to act when action is needed most.